Are there arguments in this house over the dogs?
Huge arguments. He's selfish.
Chaotic.
Who's selfish?
Peter's.
Why do you say that?
Because it's whatever he wants, that's the way it is, and he doesn't help. It's what he wants to do first, and he doesn't consider anybody else before that.
I'm not home all the time. When I come home, I like the house clean. I have a high standard.
Okay.
And screams a lot.
You scream?
Yeah, I scream at them.
Why do you scream? Is it because why do you scream?
I just scream. Don't know why.
The reason why Princess doesn't come near you is because when she was first home with us, you beat her up.
What did you do? When you say beat Princess up, what did you do?
She came at me.
She never came at you.
She came at me.
She never came at you.
What did you do to her?
I popped her in the nose, right in the snout. And then since then she hasn't.
He kicks the dogs, he punches dogs.
You do?
He's broken the ribs.
Wife.
And if I saw you do it, I would have you arrested. I would have you arrested for abuse. I would do that.
Okay, so this couple clearly needs more help than just a dog trainer. It's kind of bad, right? As a dog trainer, I've been in situations similar to this where I'm sort of the mediator and the owners have a vastly different view of what dog ownership is like. And without picking sides, without saying, well, you're right and you're wrong, but you could see the conflict there. When you work with dogs, you're working with people. And when you work with people, sometimes you're going to get a backstage look at their personal situations. In this case, they do not need a dog trainer at the moment. It might seem like on the surface they do, but they actually need more. They need maybe professional help. Maybe they need marriage counseling, church, God, whatever, right? They need something. They need to meditate, talk it out, anything. But do you see the conflict there from the beginning? The wife immediately went on that finger pointing spree. I'm not taking any blame from the guy, but you could tell right away. She was like, he's selfish, right? When a wife or husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, is very open about pointing their partner's deficiencies to somebody else, that's a problem. If my wife and I have a problem, I'm going to try to solve it with her. And if I am unable to solve it with her, I'm not going to tell a stranger, because in this case, that's what this is. It's a stranger. I'm not even going to tell a friend because it's none of their business. I might love my friend, but it's none of their business. But I would never tell a stranger, yet, you know, my wife is this. And she would never do that either, right? When you have one of the partners or one of the spouses do this, that is a clear indication. I'm not a marriage counselor, by the way. I'm just a dog trainer. I like people, but I've seen conflict like this working with dogs. You see it quite frequently, actually. And sometimes it's this bad. Sometimes it's really bad. Sometimes it's mild. Sometimes it's awful. But you could tell the wife is just very comfortable saying, no, you're an asshole, you're this, you're that, and the other. She did not use those words, but if she could on national TV, she probably would have, right? The other thing, too, that she did is, at the very end, she just kind of smiled a little bit when, you know, when Victoria was saying, I'm gonna report you, I'm gonna have you arrested. The wife was just kind of, she was just kind of holding back the laughter or the smile. I don't know why, you know, I don't even know if this thing's scripted, how much of it is scripted, I have no idea. But right from the beginning, you could tell there was marital conflict. And as a dog trainer, you're gonna deal with this. I've done it, right? I've dealt with this. In my opinion, the best thing to do is just to stay in the middle. Now, if the husband or the wife or one of the partners is clearly in the wrong, then yes, I'm gonna do my best to emphatically, but tactfully emphasize to that person that, no, this is how we're actually supposed to do it, right? If one of the partners is correct, and the other partner goes, no, you can't possibly be right, but that partner is actually correct, then again, I'm gonna do my best to emphatically, because it has to be emphatic. It can't just be like, oh, no, you're right. It has to be emphatically, because you need to address some of these things because it does affect the relationship with the dog. So emphatically, I will go, yes, actually, this is how it is. But you also want to do it tactfully so that you're not offending the person that is disagreeing. You're letting that person know you're correct, this is how we want to do it. But you also want to kind of go back and forth. I could also say, but I see your point. You know, yes, you are correct. This is how we're going to do it. This is how you're supposed to do it, actually. However, I see your point. I know where you're coming from. I see your thought process here. This way, you're not just going, see, she's right and you're wrong. You're actually in the middle, which is where you want to be. Because if you start picking sides, it turns to shit. What's going to happen is you're gonna pick sides, and then the other person's going to go, oh, well, fuck this guy, right? What does he know? And this person's gonna go, see, I told you so. And it's not a good place to be in, because ultimately it will affect the consistency with the dog. So in the middle, but you also want to validate both parties to let them know, look, this is actually, you're correct. I see where you're thinking that is correct. But you know, but this is maybe what you're thinking of, right? So things like that will make the experience much more manageable. Now, if it's this bad, when one person is just going, I've seen it, God, one of the worst cases I've seen is when I went to somebody's home for a lesson. It was one of the most awkward lessons I've ever been in. The guy was basically yelling at his wife, like badly. He was being very condescending to her, and the wife clearly was just upset about this. And it revolved around the dog, right? So this is when I was kind of new to the field. I was kind of new when it came to working with clients, working with pet owners in their homes. I'd had experience working with working dogs, but working dogs, you're dealing with handlers, police handlers, right? So the communication with them is different. You can be way more transparent, way more emphatic. There's not a whole lot of feelings. There's a lot of egos, but it's very different when it comes to dealing with a couple, dealing with spouses, dealing with a marriage situation. And so what I did is I just kind of stayed in the middle, and I did my best to validate both parties and to let the guy know, okay, yeah, I see what you're doing, but this is actually how we want to do it. And always make eye contact with both. You don't want to just talk to one person the entire time while the other person is just there, not being part of it. So even if this person has a lot to say, I'm going to talk to this person and I'm going to make eye contact with this person. I'm going to go back and forth. So if this person is asking me a lot of questions, I'm going to answer the question to that person and this person, because you're including them both. And again, you're staying in the middle. It makes both parties feel validated, included, and this makes the experience much better for everybody, including the dog, obviously.